Hey guys, welcome back to History Help for You. Today we're going to be talking about sort of religion during the reign of Elizabeth I. So there's a common kind of misconception that the opposition to Elizabeth I was purely Catholic. But this is, a misconception, and she does also face a lot of sort of backlash from Protestants, that being kind of Puritans and also Presbyterians. So Puritans felt that the Elizabethan religious settlement wasn't enough, it was insufficient. There were still kind of remnants of the Pope within that, like the sign of the cross within baptism. And they also wanted a bit of a Presbyterian system. They wanted to get rid of bishops and wanted elders instead. And then they also wanted sort of free preaching over pretty much anything, and we'll learn to see more about that. It was kind of like when we did the thing on government, kind of they wanted free speech within Parliament, and this annoyed Elizabeth. So we'll then kind of see the similarities for that sort of free speech within prayer. You had two kind of main groups for Protestants. You had you had Puritans and you had your Presbyterians. These were kind of similar, but kind of not. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty. What you need to know is they're separate, but kind of different. So the Puritans wanted to purify the Church of England of sort of anything that was Catholic. They opposed the vestments and ceremonies like signs of the cross, and they had sort of clashes with authorities over conformity. However, Presbyterians, they wanted a complete structural overhaul. They wanted to get rid of the hierarchy of bishops with elders, and obviously this challenged the Queen's control, so Elizabeth's control, and also the concept of royal supremacy. So you had three kind of things that annoyed Elizabeth. These are kind of all examples of Puritan or opposition from Protestants. You have prophesyings. This is where the clergy meet to preach and critique sermons. They were then later suppressed. This would then turn into something where they try and talk about free speech. It doesn't go on too well. You then have the admonitions to Parliament, and this was again wanting to get rid of the whole bishop system within the Church of England and kind of restructure it. And also you had the Martin Marprelate, and this was again an attack on the bishops. The Puritans and the Protestants don't really like the bishops, if you can't tell. But the kind of harsh pursuit of the government kind of alienated. I'm not very sure how you can get a moderate Puritan, but hey ho, yeah, moderate Puritans. Yeah. So you had Archbishop Whitgift. I think he was the Archbishop of Canterbury, if I'm not mistaken. He wanted religious uniformity, and kind of anyone who was Puritan and was not conforming, he wanted them suppressed. So the Three Articles was passed in 1584, which meant that the clergy had to accept royal supremacy, so that Elizabeth was the supreme governor of the church. The 39 Articles, which we'll look about on the next slide, and also using the Book of Common Prayer. Over 400 of the clergy were suspended, and it also helped to quell some sort of Puritan opposition, but also some radicals wanted separatism entirely, wanting a different church. So you have 39 Articles. This was a historical set of doctrinal statements, kind of defining Church of England being kind of Protestant, so not Roman Catholic or Puritan. Initially established in 1563 and then revised in 1571. They wanted justifications by faith alone. Didn't want kind of any sort of acceptance of the the Pope and papal authority. Also rejection of transubstantiation. This is, I don't know, the transubstantiation and contransubstantiation is still a word to me. It's something to do with like the bread and wine. One of it is that it symbolises the blood in the body. The other one is that it physically becomes it. Still a bit strange. And it also, part of the 39 Articles is again kind of accepting the fact that the monarch, it says supreme headship, but in Elizabeth's case, she kind of conforms to gender standards by making herself supreme governor. And yeah, it also kind of helps to ensure national uniformity. But you know, it doesn't always work. You do have a Catholic threat. So after Mary Queen of Scots' arrival in 1568, this then sparked the Northern Rebellion in 1569, and the Pope was not very happy how the kind of Catholics involved in the plot, which in the rebellion were treated. As such, Pope Pius V excommunicated Elizabeth, and yeah, also all her Catholic subjects were absolved. And yeah, it kind of influenced anyone to go against her, wanting to kind of. It was a bit weird because it kind of influenced crime against the monarch, which as a pope you wouldn't really expect, or you'd hope not to see. But then you have kind of the arrivals of the seminary priests and the Jesuits. So seminary priests, they train at Douai, I think I've said that right, I haven't butchered it, and Reims. These are places in the Spanish Netherlands, aiming to restore the Mass. Whereas you've got the Jesuits, these are from 1580 onwards. These tried reconverting people. So yeah, this is just a bit of a breakdown. But yeah, I forgot which way it is. I think it's one of them. They tried, kind of like seducing people into Catholicism, trying to get Catholicism back, so that they, go against Elizabeth. There was two main kind of things for this. Either recusancy, usually you're told, leave the country, please, or you get your head chopped off. So, not much of a choice there. But yeah, there is quite a bit of legislation against the Catholics. So in 1581, recusants were fined £20 a month. A bit harsh. And also any harbouring priests were kind of deterred. In 1584, you then had the Bond of Association. But this was like a pledge by the gentry and the nobility. This was after the Throckmorton plot in 1583. And this was kind of them vowing to protect the Queen. And also promising to execute anyone who claimed the throne. It kind of went against Catholics because it then kind of said, right, Catholics, if you're gonna, I don't know, be stirring the pot, then you're dead. You then also had the 1585 Act, and it was also treason for Catholic priests to be in England, and graduates were required to take the oath of supremacy, and the clergy were essentially forced out. So, if you're Catholic in England, yeah, it was not a nice place to be. I think most of them actually got kicked out of England. But yeah, that kind of sucks. Anyway, but yeah, most kind of people conformed with like the religion of the English church, and yeah, attendance, weirdly enough, was also kind of enforced a bit more. Kind of who was attending court, because back in those times they were really if you don't go to church, you're gonna die, or hell, something like that. Anyway, Catholicism was mainly among the gentry, but not really the masses. As we sort of see within the Northern Earls Revolt or the Northern Rebellion, Catholic strongholds like the North, and yeah, England was becoming quite more Protestant and kind of not afraid about it. At the start, I guess you could say the Elizabethan religious settlement was a bit more of a compromise, but then after, the Catholics kind of started opposing Elizabeth directly after Mary Queen of Scots' arrival, she got a bit annoyed. Was like, right, I'm having none of this. We are full Protestant, and that is it. And yeah, that's it. In the next video, I think it is, we're either going to be, I think we're going to be speaking about the later years, and then we've got kind of like a evaluation, was it a golden age or not, and then I think we're actually done for Elizabeth. And then I'll move on to the America content. Also, please do note that even though this does say AQA A-level history or whatever, this can be used for like GCSE Elizabeth. I think for some exam boards, when you do like the first 30 years, I think it's Edexcel does like the first, I think it's like 58 to 88. So I mean, a lot of the stuff can still be used. But yeah, it's not just A-level. I should probably make that a bit clearer from that one. But yeah, I shall see you guys in the next video.